Resuming. Weird World Order broadcast. Dialer phones connected. Initiating broadcast signal in
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, this is the Nerd World Order broadcast. I am the man that you call Dukes, and to my right, it's all about the...
Booyah, what's up? It's your boy Joe, baby.
And to my other right, weighing in at 178 adamantium-filled pounds, it's Alfonso X-Man Flores.
Even with enough prep time, Batman doesn't beat Wolverine.
You know, Batman might, just might, beat Wolverine, or he might not build Wolverine or beat Wolverine, but we have the Batmite, Devlin, who is our Batman expert, to tell us all about it.
You know, Bruce could buy a really strong magnet.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, because he would have the prep
You could
time
probably
to
build
do
one,
that.
right? You could probably build like a big magnetic.
Yeah.
Electric. Okay, fine. Touche.
Touche. We gotcha. Cool. So, ladies, gentlemen, tonight we are going to be discussing the ever controversial topic: should Batman kill? And when you think controversy, you can't not think of Devlin Talbert. So, we're gonna be discussing should Batman kill. How you been, Dev?
That's fair. I've been okay. Yeah. I recently moved, kind of recently moved from a relatively short commute to my job to now hour and a half commute to my job. But, it's worth it. I get to live in a place without a mortgage. So that's a plus.
Dude, that is a definite plus.
Yeah.
Now, do you enjoy your commute?
Oh, God, no. Who would?
Oh. All right.
Well,
know,
next,
man.
time, next time you think that you don't enjoy your commute, zero mortgage. That should just put everything
Yeah.
to rest.
Just on repeat. Yeah, pretty much.
Money.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Although passing by San Onofre every day, that's pretty nice.
yeah, I could see how that would be. Kind of inspires you as you're passing by there. That's pretty cool. Nice.
Something about this makes me miss her.
So we are going to be discussing should Batman kill. Joe put this one on the docket. I'm moderately excited. I mean, I'm excited, but I don't feel like I'm going to be able to contribute much. So if you guys are like, Deuce Candidate isn't contributing very much, it's because I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to be able to speak intelligently on the topic, but I'll throw in like my, yeah, okay, yeah, that's a good point, Dev. So that's me, dude. That's me today. Amen. That's all I'm going to say throughout the entire podcast. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, Dev, why don't you just break down like it's a philosophy of no kill rule and Batman's perspective?
Yeah. So, as we know, Batman's parents were gunned down, as we've seen in every single Batman movie ever, because they have to keep showing us the trauma over and over so that we experience it just like Bruce. But his family is shot right in front of him. And we find out later on that the killer is this guy named Joe Chill. And because that's the way that his parents go down, and he seeks out vengeance, he has vowed that he's never going to become his attacker. He's never going to become the person that wronged him. So by killing, he becomes just as bad as the guy that killed his parents and set him off this path. Hence the no kill.
I seriously did not know that. Like, that's just like, whoa. That's like my first whoa moment of this podcast. Never knew why he had a no kill philosophy or policy or whatever. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Also interesting, in early iterations of Batman, there was no kill policy. Early stages of Batman, he killed freely, threw guys off of railings, blew them up. Yeah, did not have that policy until later on, what we now consider the canon of Batman.
Probably came along with the comics code.
Yeah, probably.
yeah, so you guys are speaking intelligently. I was like, it's probably when the Adam West Batman 66 came out, but Comics Code is a lot more intelligent.
Well, you know, it is kind of hard to have an arch nemesis if you kill him. Ooh, what happened there? Is that me? Did I freeze?
No.
Oh.
I didn't think anyone froze. I didn't.
Oh,
See
Joe and Devlin disappeared on my screen for a second.
it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like I was saying, if you can't really have an arch nemesis if you kill him, so I guess in a way it draws for more of a compelling story, so you can have more character development. But
Sure, I can see how from just a logical standpoint of how to make this series go on forever, killing off your enemies kind of shortens the story.
yeah, then you got to come up with new characters. It's just work.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's just stick with lazy writing. Like,
Yeah.
I think too many of their characters that they create end up being like anti-heroes or anti-villains. It's like they can't make up their mind, right? And it didn't like Bane also kill Alfred?
I think in one iteration of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so Alfred's been killed a couple of times.
Yeah.
But yeah, was it Bane? I think it
I
might
think
have
it was
been Bane.
Bane.
It wasn't in Nightfall he didn't kill Alfred, so I'm thinking maybe in one of the other iterations.
I want to say Bane did. So like that's another person that Batman didn't kill and let go. Like just I'll name a few. Like you got the Joker, right? He's
Yeah.
one that he's let back, and Joker had the best line, like you're just one bad day away from me.
Mhm.
Penguin, you got Two-Face, you got Poison Ivy, Killer Croc, Mad Hatter, Harley Quinn, Clayface, Mad Bat. The list goes on and on. It's like
Yeah.
For him not killing them and trying to get them rehabilitated, you're costing more lives. So like Batman in its own right is not saving any lives at all. He's just the only lives you're saving is someone to take more lives. If you break it down statistically, all the people that he tries to rehabilitate, they break out and they kill more people. So he's really not doing anything if you break it down.
Yeah. I mean, I would say at one time he did save Two-Face, but yeah, and it just goes back. You're right. It's like if he doesn't kill, I would say he's morally responsible for all the other deaths that happened. I mean, yeah, sure, he's a vigilante and what he's doing is not really considered of the law, but by not killing, these superpowered beings need a different kind of policing. You can't cops can't just get a hold of them. So, I mean, it's a tough one because I think about it. It's like, yeah, killing's wrong. It's totally wrong. But if you kill a killer, how wrong is that? You know what I mean? And what are you guys' thoughts on this?
Well, look at it. I think look at Metropolis, bro. Like he has villains, but they're not. Gotham has evil criminals that just kill people. So like if you look like in Spider-Man's villains, they don't really go out and kill people. Like they rob banks, they fight. They don't really take anybody's lives. Same thing with like Metropolis. Like they don't go around. Their criminals don't go around taking people's lives. In Gotham, they kill.
Yeah.
And so I think
Metropolis has well-lit streets and OSHA.
Yeah, but I think like with Gotham, it's a different type of criminals. Like Punisher would love that city. If you break it down, Punisher would do a better job because he just kill them. Yeah. If you have all that money, bro, like if you kill these criminals, bro, like you'll fix Gotham like that. You want to stay up late and try to fix Gotham, and then all the kids and they keep getting murdered. Didn't he also like when he rescued Robin, he vowed to like make sure kids don't suffer, like like Jason Todd did, and they like still suffer and they still die.
To be fair, Jason Todd was our fault because they gave us the 800 number and we had a choice and we chose to kill him.
Right. But he came back as Red Hood, is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, he did.
In the end, we win. And Red Hood's
So-
philosophy is what Batman should be.
So I would argue that if he decided to go ahead and kill, that Gotham itself would become the villain. So, when you look at a lot of the origin stories of his villains, it wasn't so much Batman that turned them into villains. It was the circumstances of Gotham itself, whether it be some lab accident or, somebody else got murdered, lack of funding for research for somebody whose wife was frozen up. Any of these things could have been just prevented by the city being there for the citizens. So if Batman goes ahead and starts killing off all the villains that we have right now, what's to stop just the nature of Gotham from creating more villains?
His money.
Victim of
His money.
circumstance. Yeah,
His money. He'll just make better cities, better equipment. I mean, that's what he could use his money for.
I could build a Batmobile, or I could educate a grip of kids.
Right.
Yeah. And you just stepped onto it, Joe. So if he really wanted to be successful, killing them isn't going to be as successful as just fixing the city. If he fixed the city, at the very least, these super villains wouldn't have their goons. They'd have to make their own bombs like savages?
Mhm.
So I'm going to throw a question out at you guys, and consider I don't know the answer. This is just more as you guys are talking. So now, Batman and Bruce Wayne. So basically, if I understand correctly, Bruce Wayne feels that Batman is like the real entity, and Bruce Wayne is just kind of the persona he takes on for the sake of having Batman. This is all just me freestyling. I don't know. But anyway, so would it make sense for Batman to want to fix the city if he's really driven by the fighting and the conflict that he participates in? Because you guys are right, he could fix the city, but if he did that, there's no more Batman. What do you think?
Well, it's like, what is it that he really wants? Does he want justice, or does he want vengeance? He wants vengeance. That's probably why he doesn't kill him, because he's allowed to beat him up and beat him senseless and break their bones and do it all over again, right? If he kills everybody, he's gonna have nobody left. If the problem's fixed, there's no need for a Batman. If there's no need for a Batman, where does he get his vengeance?
Yeah, valid point. So let's look at that. Who raised him? Alfred raised him. When we
Alfred's
look
pretty
at some
sadistic.
of the stories, Alfred is super sadistic. When we look at some of the stories of Alfred, we get these like little snippets where like, oh, somebody broke into the house, and it's like, oh, do I need to do something? No, I took care of it. Like Alfred is not afraid to pull the trigger and take care of business. So that's the guy that raised him. But as all of us parents do, we want our kids to be better. So he's like, all right, I want you to be vengeful like me, but you just can't kill, right? So what if instead of Alfred, he stayed the butler, but somebody like Dr. Leslie Tompkins, who was there when his folks were murdered, or Lucius Fox, who was running, Wayne Corps, what if one of them decided, you know what, I need to be responsible and look after this kid. He will be my ward, and Alfred can come along. We'd have a completely different man. Batman arguably may not even have existed. It may have just been Bruce, being vengeful in a different way, more of a socially active way.
Dude, if Lucius Fox was in charge of raising him, we would have an Iron Man.
Ooh.
Also accurate.
Yeah, you're right.
What if he? I think they should change it up, bro. Let him kill.
Yeah.
I think they should create new villains if they don't want to kill off the old ones. I just think his same villains have been around too long.
I have a question regarding the villains, because I feel like Marvel, the villains die and then they come back, but for some reason DC just doesn't want to do that. Is DC more rooted in reality than Marvel? I mean, I don't understand.
I don't think so.
Alpha and I've had this debate many times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've had this debate. So we often like rib each other back and forth, and I'm one that says DC is more based in reality, and he's like, no, Marvel is. I'm like,
It's
No,
like
it's DC.
Nate asked me about comic books and stuff. He's like, "Well, Superman this," and I go, "Well, yeah, but in reality, that's not going to happen." Well, what about the X-Men? Well, that's reality.
Yeah, just as I think about it, like I've always seen Marvel, no offense, Steph, I've always seen Marvel as being more rooted in reality. Perhaps it's just because their cities have real names, you know.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm like, would it matter if Batman killed his villains? If they could just come back? Like, what wasn't there one story where there's not one Joker, there's three. So why
Yeah.
can't you
Three.
kill
Yeah,
one?
there was exactly three Jokers. There was one real Joker, and he was sort of training two other Jokers to really mess with the Bat family and make them go even crazier. So we had the comedian. You had another one that was really going after psychopath. Yeah, you had the one that was going after Batgirl. You had one that was going after Jason Todd, and it was really just all about just creating the chaos within the Bat family. But yeah, and the only reason that we got that was from when Batman sat in the Mobius chair,
Oh.
because he asked the first two questions that he asked is, "Who killed my parents?" Joe Chill. Who's Joker? There are three Jokers.
Yeah.
Oh, and didn't it take like years for them to ever get back to that?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it took way too long for them to do it. It took a whole bunch of fan outrage going, come on, we need to know what's going on.
Okay, cool. So,
But that's
I mean,
DC though.
oh,
No, you're not wrong. I love to be hurt, I guess. So that's why I go
Yeah.
with DC.
so like, has Batman ever killed one? I mean, in recent canon, has he killed any of his notable villains?
In canon, no. So we've seen offshoots like, the Dark
Elseworlds.
Justice League, like Elseworlds. Yeah, absolutely. He's gone off and killed there. Like when he gets Green Lantern's ring and becomes Dawnbreaker. Yeah, he kills. In fact, most of the iterations in the Dark multiverse, Batman winds up killing. That's what sets him apart and sets him on the path that leads to that. Yeah, absolutely. Batman will kill in those scenarios. There's even the Injustice series. Batman
Yes.
in there eventually kills. There's a famous scene in like the alternate universe of Injustice where after the events of Superman, he's driving Joker off to jail, and he just looks at him, and Joker and he are having this talk, and he's like, "You're right, I'll never win," and he just snaps his neck right there. But what I think set apart that Batman and made it kind of close to canon is as soon as he was done killing him, he continued to drive, and instead of turning Joker into jail, he turned himself into jail.
Okay.
Wasn't there one story too where Batman just like, yeah, you're right, and he just like grabbed Joker and jumped off the building and killed both of them? I don't know why that sounds familiar. If not, it should be.
Have you read Absolute Batman? Is that a different type of Batman?
Different type of Batman. Yeah. So, but in all of the canon stories, no, Batman won't kill. Not in the recent iterations. There are some moments where it's like he's accidentally killed someone or his actions have led to somebody's death, but no overt killing.
Wow.
Maybe we should just start breaking bones.
Oh, that's what he does.
He does that. Yeah.
Okay,
Dislocates shoulders.
break Joker's bones. He can't walk again. Like I make him where they can't walk again at least or something.
Oh, remember
There's
Shadowhawk?
no way. Yeah. There's no way that Gotham can afford Medicaid.
Dude, Shadowhawk would go around just busting people's spines, put everybody in wheelchairs, man. He didn't care.
Was Shadowhawk a Batman ripoff?
Yeah, totally from Image Comics.
Oh,
Yeah,
see,
sure.
I thought he looked cool, so I never made that connection until right now.
I'm gonna say it's more of a Moon Knight ripoff. No,
Okay.
no.
Or Rom.
Rom Space Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dark Hawk.
Yeah.
Dark Hawk. All in the same vein. They're all Batman ripoffs.
Yeah. Most of the debates about should Batman kill always seem to come back to Joker and Bat. Like it's always that relationship of Joker and Batman. But I was thinking about it, I think I was even talking with Alpha about it a little bit, that it's almost like both have to exist. They are, two very prominent forces in the
Yin and
DC
yang.
universe. You have, Batman, which even though he's all about vengeance and fighting, he represents more of justice and order. Like his plans are very thought out, meticulous. There's a lot of order and preparation to what he does. I think you have Joker. Joker's all about chaos, causing chaos, being chaotic. So yeah, like you said, yin and yang, they are very much there. So if Batman decides to kill Joker, what's to say there isn't going to be something that will fill that vacuum soon? Maybe another of those two Jokers that he created are going to be popping up from elsewhere. But I mean, it'd make for an interesting storyline, at least, as Joe pointed out.
But and you got to think about too, like when Batman was originally, I mean, yeah, originally he was killing people left and right. Same with Superman, he's dropping them off buildings. But when Comics Code Authority came in, and like, they're trying to teach moral values to children. So that's comic books. That was the whole thing. They were for children, but they're not for children anymore, man. Those kids grew up, and we're still the ones collecting. And those kids nowadays, I mean, they're busy watching anime. They're busy playing Fortnite. You know what I mean? I think they should change with the times. I think Batman should see the folly of his ways, see that Joker's responsible for thousands of deaths, and if he would have just killed him, it would have been fine. He'd have been done. So I don't know. You got to really look at the times. You can't just, this isn't the 50s anymore. We're not going to Mom and Pa's milkshake shack anymore. It's a different world. It's a different world, and sometimes you have to have consequences for your actions. That's more than just sitting in a cell thinking about what you did.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, truth of the matter is, I guess it depends on where you live, because some states there's the death penalty, some states there's not, and then there's Florida.
Yeah,
We got our own justice. We feed him to the gators.
What would Amanda Waller do if she had a chance?
She would
to
kill
Joker?
everybody.
That's what Batman needs to do.
Easily.
You
We
know what I
know
mean?
what Amanda Waller would do. She would implant an explosive device in their head and put them to work.
No, what she does is she takes some of his DNA, she clones him, and in the future she has the Batman.
Yeah.
That's Batman Beyond. Amanda Waller was responsible for that.
There's a beautiful reveal in that series. It's a beautiful reveal. Yeah.
Wow. I guess I don't need to watch it now.
Spoilers.
You should. It's pretty good.
I heard it's pretty
good.
good.
Refrigerator.
if anything, just for that opening theme song, that is this amazing theme song.
Almost as good as the X-Men one.
Almost. I will concede X-Men has the better theme song.
Now, just because I want to hear this theme song you guys are raving over, I'm gonna have to watch an issue or an episode.
I don't even remember the theme song.
There's actually a really cool one that you should watch, where I think he goes into the future and he meets up with like an old man Static Shock. It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. That was in Justice League Unlimited.
Oh, was it really? It wasn't even in
Justice
Batman
League Unlimited. He goes into the future and he sees Old Man Static Shock.
Nice.
Was Static?
That's that whole scene where we get the like he's there and he's like, "Was I ever this green?"
Yeah.
Wow.
What were you gonna ask about Static Shock?
No, I didn't realize, was Static Shock part of the whole DC Unlimited thing, or was it just like a cameo sort of?
It was a cameo. They were chasing. Oh no, yeah, maybe it was Batman Beyond. They were chasing this time bandit guy. He was in like 2 episodes. I can't remember his name.
Wow.
But
killed him.
It was
Sounds cool.
Yeah,
it was
cool.
super cool.
He wound up like killing himself.
Wow, that's pretty wild. So we know like Batman doesn't kill. I think Joe was telling me that Damian Wayne wants to kill everybody.
Oh yeah.
You guys mentioned that Red Hood has a killing policy. Who else in the Batman family kills?
I don't think it would be hard for you to push Barbara into killing somebody.
Because that's how she rolls.
That's just how she's just going to type on her keyboard and order an orbital strike.
Wow.
What about, remember that one Batgirl who was she mute? She couldn't talk or something?
Oh, she was so cool.
Didn't she kill people?
Yeah, that was wasn't that Huntress's daughter?
Oh, was that who that was?
I had no idea. That's pretty cool though.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, I remember her. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's interesting because I feel like they are part of the Batman family. He
Mhm.
has a philosophy, but they're just like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And they do their own thing, which at the same time, it's like, okay, Batman trains them.
Mhm.
He
Mhm.
provides them with weapons, but he doesn't force them to completely follow his philosophy, which I think is pretty cool,
I think for a time he tried to force it upon them, but like Jason Todd, there was really much he could do. He went off, he died, came back his own man. Dick Grayson, he's gone off. So it's tough when they're under his thumb as a Robin. Like right now, he's constantly putting Damian in check. He's like, "No, we don't kill," and he's like, "Come on, Grandpa, let me kill." It's just, it's. I guess it depends on whether or not you're right next to his side or not. If you're his sidekick, you're not killing. You're not gonna let.
For anyone that doesn't know, who's Grandpa?
Ra's al Ghul.
Hmm.
There you go.
Grandpa.
Yeah.
It's just the leader of a guild of assassins. Yes.
Remy
Yeah.
LeBeau. Oh wait, not Remy
Yeah.
LeBeau.
No.
Close though.
Another
Close.
guild of assassins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Dick is the only member of the Bat family that would like have the longest pause before killing.
Yeah,
But he'd also kill. Would he kill?
I think eventually he would kill.
Mhm.
It's just Bruce is such a mentor to him that it would take quite a bit to push him into it.
Now in
Yeah.
The Killing Joke, did Bruce eventually kill the Joker in that one?
Yeah. And then in an offshoot of the Killing Joke, that's where we get the Batman Who Laughs.
Really?
So in one of the alternate universes, it's kind of a similar situation. He chases them, he kills them, but when he kills Joker, there's the release, like a super
Mhm.
release of the toxin, and that's
Right.
what drives him insane. And we get the Batman Who Laughs.
Nice. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I was
And that's kind of a look into, oh well, what if he does go ahead and decide to kill? Well, this is kind of one of those instances of what happens.
right. I
Yeah.
wonder now, was it the toxin or was it just his mental psychosis from killing that caused him to become the Batman Who Laughs?
Probably both, right?
Both is good.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
both,
take
I would say both.
both is good.
It did.
Lilo-
It did
that's a
so
Lilo
well
sketch.
because it was Batman killing. It wasn't the Joker.
Yeah.
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 So I wonder how would be the issues like if it would like change everything if they just started making Batman kill. I think if they started doing that, they would have to create more villains, like better villains. I just think
totally.
Yeah.
it's so easy to have a Batman villain just put in the Joker for filler or put in like
Right.
Ivy, Poison Ivy, Two-Face, mainstream villains like that. I feel like the Riddler, you know what I mean? So it's like there hasn't been any new dope villains that anybody talks about when it comes to Batman. And I think if he did kill off those characters, it'd be what is Batman without his villains? Unfortunately, Batman. Yeah, I said it.
Well, I mean, Batman's mentally damaged, psychosis. If he started killing people, if there was a finite answer to his issues, it would be towards the steps of curing him, and he doesn't want to be cured. He
Right.
revels in it. I one of my favorite stories, and I actually never read it. I've heard a lot about it. I've seen TikToks about it. Is where Batman's actually in an insane asylum, and all the the warden and all the orderlies, they're all the villains that he imagines is in his mind. That's such a great idea for a story.
So
Not
let
just
me
that,
tell you
but
something.
you
Let me
have
tell you something.
the stories of like Alfred pretending to be the villains for him.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Let me tell you. I'll break it down real quick, dude.
What's that?
We all have sons or daughters.
Oh yeah.
If I'm Batman and you got one of my sons, bro, I'm not taking you to. I'm killing you. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm not taking you anywhere, bro. I'm not bringing you into custody. It's a wrap. When Dr. Dre says it's a wrap, it's a wrap.
Oh no, for sure. No. I understand what Batman's deal is, but I 100% would murder for my daughter.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
even
Would help you.
hesitating, bro.
Yeah,
there's
I
a
just
boy
think-
right now. I'm
yeah.
even thinking about it.
Yeah, as I was thinking about this subject and things that was, I know killing's wrong. It's against your morals, and it's, against everything that you're taught, and it's against the law. But it's like every time I thought about it, it's like, yeah, murder's wrong. I really wouldn't do it. That was the first thing that came to my head. Something happened to one of my children, it would be a rampage. It would be a
Yeah.
murderous rampage, and it would not end well.
Yeah. And at what point, I don't even know, because I don't keep up with Batman anymore. But at what point do you just not analyze your situation and think, the rehabilitation is not working and people keep dying? At what point does Batman not look at that? You sit in your little bat cave, you see your little computers, you're trying to figure out all this crime. At what point do you just not question yourself and how you're causing a lot of deaths in Gotham?
Exactly. With all his planning, he's running the numbers.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter, he just doesn't want to be helped. He doesn't want to make it finite. He needs the feed off of them. So it's his mental anguish that's keeping him from killing.
I don't know if it's that so much as if he admits that they are beyond redemption, then he might in turn believe that he is beyond closure. To say, all right, I can't fix them, so I'm just going to kill them. Well, he can't really fix himself, so what's he going to do there?
He's going to kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to Batman, here's what I was wondering. You can only pick one, and it can't be Joker, right? Who does he kill? If he only gets one kill, and it matters, and it can't be Joker, who
That's
does he
the
kill?
only one that does matter, really.
Zaz.
Who?
Zaz would be a good one to take out.
Dang, you could have made that up, and I'm like, who?
No, because Zaz is one of those that, like, no matter what, he's beyond rehabilitation. Like, he fully believes that he's freeing them by killing them, and like, he is snapped. So yeah, absolutely, Zaz, 100%.
No, I agree.
Who was
wholeheartedly.
Zaz?
You want to explain him?
So
He's a serial
Victor
killer.
Zaz is this guy. Yeah, he didn't start off as a serial killer. So he winds
Captain
up
Crunch, Tony the
like
Tiger.
he winds up getting into a fight with it's a bum, I think. And in the process, in order of to save his own life, he winds up killing him. But through killing him, something snaps, and he just believes that like he freed this guy. I think the guy was even like, even though he was fighting him, he was saying that he was suicidal or something. And so something in him snapped, and he believed that every person that he killed was somebody that he freed. So every time that he freed somebody, he marked himself that, that was one person that he marked. So all of those slashes that you see on his body, that's somebody that he freed.
Wow. That's pretty dark, man.
Batman needs to do that
Yeah.
for his whole body for every person that died because he let the villain live. And change his
That's
name
why
to-
he wears a
change his
full
name to
body suit.
Baz.
Yeah.
He called himself Baz.
Yeah. Zaz is a really good call. Anybody else? I mean, I guess Ra's al Ghul, because Ra's al Ghul he facilitates lots of death. He runs an assassin guild. He's responsible for everybody he's killed. He's responsible for everybody that he's trained to kill. So I think that would be a good one to take off the table.
Wow. Now I feel like any answer I give is just going to sound ignorant. Like, Riddler. I don't know.
Dude, this is gonna be like Calendar Man.
Yeah.
What was that, Pharaoh?
Oh, King Tut? Was it King Tut?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. I
Actually, the biggest villain Batman should take out is Superman.
Now, I'll just say one of my favorite stories when I was like really deep in the comics was Dark Knight Returns. So
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Actually, a good turn would be for him to take out Lex Luthor.
Ooh. That would be pretty cool, actually.
Doing Cal a favor.
Now, who does more damage? Lex Luthor or Joker?
Joker.
Nah, because Luthor,
Most of Joker stuff is
Well, let's just.
yeah,
But it's innocent people that are dying.
it's centralized. But Luthor does things on a grand scale. Like
yeah.
he's responsible for wars in other countries. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I mean, yeah, Jokers are definitely more personal and more brutal. But I think number wise, body count, I would probably say Luthor.
Interesting. So is Joker more of a menace because he comes across as psychotic, or is Lex Luthor? Lex Luthor. I was thinking Lex Luger. Lex Luthor, is he still more like? Is he a menace, or is he just like, I don't know, because he doesn't come across as crazy. He's just like,
Yeah.
hey, I got this idea. Sure, it causes problems for other people, but whereas Joker's just like, I'm killing people and I don't care.
Well, if I ended up in a room with one of them, I'd rather end up in a room with a bear. I mean, I'd rather end up in a room with Luthor.
Yeah, I think the issue is that Joker is all about the chaos. We know that because of his being psychotic. But with Luther, he's so removed from humanity that he doesn't see anybody else as people or as humans. He just
True.
sees them as another cog in the wheel and another cog in the system. Like they're just moving pieces on a board. That's all they are to him. So if he makes a power play to take over a small country so that he can get 10 cents cheaper on the dollar for a certain mineral, he doesn't really care if tens of millions of people die in the process. That was just, necessary.
Rather than
Right.
a mineral, I'd say whiskey.
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
cents cheaper on
So
the
in
whiskey.
that, yeah. So in that regard, who is more evil? The one that doesn't care, about anybody. They're just like, they're just peons, kill them all. Or the one that's like, no, this is too boring. I must have chaos. I'm going to kill you slowly because that's fun.
Right. Yeah, I would say you guys are right. I feel like Lex Luthor is worse, but I feel like, see, I'm like, but I was gonna say Joker's scarier, but what's scarier, you know?
I'm looking at
Wait.
the top 10 villains body counts. Like I looked it up
Yeah.
on it's on
Nice.
what was it? CBR. And it says Joker's number 10.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Waz Al Ghul
Ra's
is
al
number
Ghul, yeah.
9.
Rachel.
Oh,
9.
wow.
Visual.
9 only.
Cyborg Superman is number 8. Vandal Savage is 7.
Oh, well, he's been around for a long time.
DCI
Wait. Are they counting people or animals as well for Vandal?
Batman, the Batman Who Laughs is number 5.
Oh.
Dang. He rose
Brainiac
up
is
quick.
number 4.
Okay, I see that.
Eclipso is number 3. Darkseid is number 2.
Whoa.
And the Anti-Monitor is number 1. So Lex Luthor didn't even make top 10.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And but in the process, though, Lex took on the Anti-Monitor.
Yeah.
So true.
Wow. That's pretty interesting. I mean, as far as like that kill count makes a lot more sense simply because the ones who are on the bottom, they're more what's the phrase I'm looking for? They're more terrestrial.
Yeah.
And as your kill count increases, you go from like intergalactic to interdimensional almost,
Right.
Yeah.
It should be Batman and Joker number 10, really.
Well, I mean, wait, real quick, just Luthor's defense, he is trying to make Metropolis great again.
I think human race in general against Superman, right? You don't care if he kills humans in the process to out Superman.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
How if he's trying to get this podcast taken down?
Nope.
That's one way to do it. One way to do it. So, like, jumping, back to should Batman kill? I feel like because I thought about this and from a writing perspective, right? Joe has made the point several times, like, okay, you have the same old villains, been around for a long time, and it's getting kind of stale. But I also feel like Spider-Man's had the same rogues gallery forever, but they're still okay. So do you gain anything from a writing perspective if you get rid of some of the 5 core villains for Batman? Do you gain anything?
No, because you stand a way better chance of making them more interesting, carrying them on throughout the years, because they can evolve, they can change, they can grow with Batman, and I think it would do the story a severe, it would be bad for it if you take out those core villains, right? It would be a great story for that time, but then it's like, yeah, either you got to find a way to bring him back to life, which is lazy writing, or you got to find a new villain. But then that new villain's not even going to be anybody of note until he's been around for 30 years. You know what I mean? 20 years, 10 years even. And that's just too long. You've already got the established, and Batman, yeah, really with when it comes to Joker, that's just like you said, it's a yin and yang. It's like I don't think if there's not a Joker, I don't think there can be a Batman, and vice versa.
Michael Keaton did it.
Hey, Michael Keaton ain't Batman no more. What's important is what Val Kilmer did.
That brings me back to something else that I was thinking about. That Batman, as we know, is quite violent. And within the DC universe, we have another great detective, in a way, who isn't as violent.
Wait. I have a question.
City, yeah, no, not even him. The question is quite violent. No, but another in jail, right? Who isn't as violent, but he has worked on rehabilitating his city and his villains, and a lot of his villains have kind of turned into not so bad guys. Flash is an example of really how to do it better. If Batman had the kind of mentality a Flash does, it's like, hey, I'm gonna kind of talk with my guy and rehabilitate him as I'm punching him, maybe he'd have better results.
I don't know. Reverse Flash says no.
Dude, he's so bad. Reverse Flash is so evil, dude.
Yeah, he says no.
He refuses to die. He got shot in the head. He's just vibrated himself, keeping himself alive. Just, dude, did you see when he beat up Batman? Like, there was nothing Batman could do. Nothing.
Not enough prep time.
No.
He couldn't be faster.
Yeah, you can't have prep time when someone who can outrun time. Yeah. It's interesting because as Dev was running through sort of who this person is, I'm like, Flash? No, he's not a detective. But
I thought you were going to say Detective Chimp. That's who's a lot smarter and a better detective than Batman. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Chimp.
Yeah, me too, actually.
But yeah, remember the Flash? He does forensics.
Yeah, Flash does.
You're right, but he just didn't come to mind. But yeah,
I was like, Elongated Man.
Yeah,
he's a great detective as well. Sorry.
Yeah,
okay. Not Plastic Man. Elongated.
Yeah, I'm like, do you need Elongated Man if you have Plastic Man? It's like,
yeah.
But anyway, I feel like, and this is completely off subject, but I feel like Marvel does a much better job of rehabilitation, and then you become a anti-hero or quasi-hero. Whereas DC, other than Catwoman, who, it's like, oh, I'm good, I'm not good. Like, who else really switches over? And Dev, I'd love for you to, tell me you're wrong. And I'll be like, okay, I'm wrong. But who switches over in DC?
Harley Quinn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Two-Face, really? Two-Face. Harley Quinn joins the Bat family and starts fighting alongside them.
Oh, see? Oh, damn. Interesting.
Yeah. He rehabilitated Clayface for a bit, too.
Really?
Yeah. So some of the villains have been rehabilitated and have fought alongside to be good, or at least be better members of society.
See, for me, was Azrael really a villain, though?
At first, yeah. He was working for that cult, dude.
So Azrael is like, yeah, he's a villain in the way that Damian is a villain, or that Jason Todd is a villain. Right? Like he believes that he's doing the right thing, but his methods aren't exactly good. And for Azrael, yeah, his stuff was all brainwashing.
Yeah.
Okay, Deb, you're about to break this down for me, okay? I'm gonna go back like 30, maybe 35 years. I don't know. Anyway, okay, let's say 30 years, right? How did Azrael actually become Batman? Like, did he go to the Batcave? How did he become Batman?
Bane broke
No,
his Bruce
No,
Wayne's
no,
back. Isn't
right.
that how he
no,
But
became
then
Batman?
Batman
how did
found
Azrael decide it's me? I'm Batman now.
Batman found it. It was like a fluke thing that made Batman, think that, oh, hey, this guy could potentially be like my next, training guy. So he was observing, like, I think it was like a school gymnasium or something, and he's watching this guy, the security guard, walking around the campus, and he has a flashlight, but he isn't turning it on. He's walking around in the dark, as Batman does, and he tries to sneak up on him, and he recognizes that somebody is there in the dark when he can't see it. So like that heightened sense of awareness in the dark is like, oh, this is something I must latch onto at home. So he starts to train him a little bit when the incident with Bane happens.
Yeah.
Bane takes over, and it just is like, I need you to take it up.
Yeah.
I need to rehabilitate it. I need you to
There-
take it up.
There needs to be
And
a Batman.
Azrael's like, oh, yeah. Azrael's like, hey, sure, I'll take it up, but I have all of this tech and money at my resources. I'm gonna kind of soup everything up a bit
Sharpen it
and
up.
go crazy.
And at the time too, Bruce was like, "No, Dick's got something going on. He should be the next Batman, but he's busy in Bloodhaven. He has his own thing going. I can't bother him with this because if he leaves, then Bloodhaven's undefended. But yeah, Dick should have been the next Batman.
Yeah,
all right.
But eventually, Dick does become Batman, at least for a shortened period of time. But yeah,
Jean-Paul Vallée.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's just like that was just a curveball where it's like I didn't really understand that, but okay.
yeah, it's like 5 panels.
Right place, right time. Skill set.
You might have just like skipped the pages that stuck together or something. Like that's where his story is.
Those aren't the pages that stuck together when I was that age.
Hi-yo.
But a bump.
Come again?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see here.
That
So
was the
thank you
X-Men
for
summer issue, right?
yes, it was. Yeah, so I mean, thanks for explaining that because obviously I read it, but at the same time, it's also reading and comprehension. Sometimes they don't go together for me. So I was just wondering, like, how's this random guy who I've never seen before suddenly become like one of the most important heroes? So now that makes sense. Okay, so thanks, man. But then he, nah, you know what? I'm getting off topic. I'm way off topic. Look at me.
He was a Batman that killed. I mean, I don't think it's off topic.
No, I was about to go way off topic. Like I was so far off topic, I'd have walked off the screen. So,
like, where's he at now?
yeah.
Like they have so many dope little ideas and characters that they have that they just put on the shelf and they just leave it there. You know what I mean? Like they could always go back and do, like they could bring that guy back out of retirement or wherever he's at and create like a dope story. But no, comics just don't do that.
Yeah, I agree. Well, plus I want to say that they play it safe. And what I mean by that is like, oh, you have to have Bruce Wayne. And you never take the time to develop other characters, flesh out their story to the point where people might want to, hear a little bit more about Azrael, or another version of Batman.
Yeah.
You're muted, Alfonso.
You're muted, bro.
Here, let me unmute you, Alfonso.
It's not touchscreen.
Oh,
There's
poor
no mouse to
Alfonso.
your
He's muted himself. I don't know.
Hold on.
All right. So Azrael, is he still alive? I guess that'd be a question more for Devlin. Is Azrael still alive?
Yeah.
So how are you going to have Dev walk off screen and then ask him a question?
Yeah. How does that even work? How does that work?
Yeah.
Sorry, we had to do a Scooby Doo there.
Yeah, I
Well,
was
you said,
actually like,
you were going so off topic, you had to walk off screen,
well,
so
yeah,
that was
that
our
was
cue.
perfect timing. That was perfect
Yeah.
timing. I love that. So, overall, I would say I personally don't want to see Batman kill simply because I feel like every character has sort of their core things that are important. Like, I like this character because, and I feel like unless there was a story where something drove Batman to that point, which I guess would be the Killing Joke. But I just feel like his character is tied into not killing, and I think deviating from that would make me not see him as Batman anymore. Obviously, he's Batman, but not the same character. So
I agree.
that would be me.
That makes a lot of sense because deep down, that's who he is. That's to his core, and like, you got to have your morals and you got to have your standards and you got to stick with them because otherwise, who are you, right?
Then you're just an X-Man.
Yeah.
Wolverine kills.
And with as good as he is at planning, he'd eventually kill them all anyway. And that's, we're not going to have much of a story afterwards anyway.
I think it's boring.
So
Yeah.
you think so, Alan? You think he shouldn't kill Alfred? You do the same thing?
Yeah, I really think he shouldn't. I mean, not to say I wouldn't, but he shouldn't because that's, and you got people who kill, and Batman's just not one of them. So somebody's got to have the moral high ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think he should
Yeah.
kill. I think he should kill at least one time. I think they wasted the time when Bane killed Alfred. I think Bane would have been perfect for him. I want to see Batman kill a top villain, and then sit there and does he regret it? Does he think that's the right thing to do? I want him to question who he is and if it will break him down to be better or something he has to deal with going forward. I think that'll be good storytelling for his development of where something different, and it'll shut people like me up that says he should kill if they write it in a dope way where he does do that killing and nothing changes. Things get worse for him mentally, his family or whatever, like what does it do with like Jason Todd and Damien when they see his dad kill somebody, so those are the things that storytelling wise I would like to see. What were you, Dev?
Yeah. Well, if he does kill and Jason and Damien find out, I think they're going to be pissed. I mean, after all those years that they've been ready to kill somebody and he kept telling them no, and they're like, "What? Now you're going to go ahead and kill? That's messed up, dude. Like I had that guy dead to rights and you told me no."
Yeah. Or
So,
that
like,
guy
he
beat
would
me
wind
half to
up-
death with a crowbar.
Right. And so
Right.
that leads me to the earlier discussion that they find out one of them may go insane and suddenly turn into the next Joker or the equivalent of Joker. Red Hood, I mean, how much would you have to push him before he just went that bad? Not far at all. You can just kind of like hit him with a soft breeze and he'll turn that way. But ultimately, no. Batman just needs to look back at Gotham, the real villain, just be like, all right, affordable housing and OSHA. That's all we really need.
Jobs
All
for
you did
everybody.
was you just validated my point. That's storytelling right there.
Yeah.
Those are issues right there, just about the relationship with Batman doesn't change. They go all on their own. Does it validate Damien? Say you did it one time, I'm gonna keep doing it then, because that's what Damien would do. Damien would be like, "Oh, okay." The repercussions and what happens if he
Yeah.
does it even just one time.
Batman's
like-
thing has always been, though, is like, we are better than them. We are better than the ones that are killing. That's why he doesn't want to kill.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's not.
Can't stoop,
Yeah, but you're not better than people when people are dying. Your
can't
watch.
stoop to their level.
Yeah.
He's like, let me kill a little one.
Just one. Come on, Dad. Just one to start. I think Joe brings up a great point, and I think we're looking at it slightly different. From a thematic storytelling perspective, it would definitely mix things up. And kind of like Dev said, people say nature abhors a vacuum. I don't know what that means, but I heard people say it, right? So if the ultimate villain is going to be the Joker, someone is going to fill that role, which creates really good storytelling, because who becomes worse than the Joker? So I feel like Joe's perspective is very solid as someone who wants a better, more intelligent, maybe more mature look at Batman stories. Whereas I feel like we're just looking at it like Batman purists. Like, this is Batman, this is how he is, this is how he should be. Therefore, I want my same Batman that I like because he's Batman for the reason because he doesn't kill. So I just think it's really interesting how in this particular case, both perspectives make perfect sense.
Totally.
So, Dev, we're rounding the corner here, and I know you got some pretty awesome projects. I know you got the truck, as far as your Jurassic truck. So, why don't you tell us real quick before we wrap this up? And I don't have a good pun for wrap this up. But anyway, tell us what's going on with you, like social media. What are you doing? Where can people sort of see your projects?
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of work on it, but if you go on Instagram, JPMP37, that's the Instagram for my truck. I am part of what is called the Jurassic Park Motor Pool. It is an international organization of fans of the Jurassic Park franchise and Jurassic World. And we do charity events, corporate gigs, birthday parties, and every now and then Universal will call us up and say, "Hey, we need a couple of screen accurate vehicles to put up for promotion of such and such." But mostly it's just nerds with money. I mean, we all know what happens when nerds get money, and this is what happened. For me personally, when 2020 hit, I had a really crazy incident of a homeless guy had broken into my car, and I decided I never wanted to get that car back. I couldn't sit in it anymore because of what had happened. And when it was done, I was sitting with my wife, and she's like, "Well, you've talked about, getting a truck. When I get a truck." And afterwards, I was like, screw it. This is what's going on. I'm just going to slap a decal on there. I happened to meet somebody from the OC Ghostbusters, and they turned me to the motor pool, and the rest is history.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, ladies, gentlemen, and knights, as you can tell, Dev is definitely a genuine nerd. Check him out on the gram because his truck is actually pretty cool. My son is a huge Jurassic Park fan, and so every so often I'm like, "Hey, son, come here, look at this. That's what you want to be today, but you're not because you ain't got no driver's license." So yeah, definitely check out Dev's stuff on Instagram. So this concludes this episode of the Nerd World Order broadcast. So until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, I am NWO.
We are NWO.
Nerds redefined.
Booyah.